Incorporate the colors of the fall season into your wardrobe. Here to show us how is Terry Standish, the fashion doctor from i4FashionCT.com. Terry, nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me again. I always enjoy being here.
Now, it's funny how I feel like we were just talking about summer. Now we're talking about fall. And when I start to think of all of the things that we're inspired by in the fall season, I get really excited about it because it's all those comforting, cozy things. And it's interesting how when we think of the season, how there's certain colors that always come to mind.
Yes, and being in New England, we have the opportunity to actually see them happen where the rest of the world may only know them by what the fashion trends are. So it definitely is influencing what we do in our world in every area, including our wardrobe, because we're drawn to them and we're remembering them and we've forgotten them for a while.
And it's not just the colors of the season and the things that we enjoy during that season that inspire us, it's also the entire big picture of the world today. So kind of talking about the evolution of fashion and where these trends come from, it's interesting to take a look back.
Exactly. Any designer or artist is inspired often by nature, because we never create anything the first time. We're reinventing what is found in nature. And when it comes to the colors, they're using that, but they're also tying in the evolution of the landscape of what's going on in our world as a whole. So if we think of different eras and time periods from the 60s or 70s or even the 50s, we have an idea of what that looks like in a visual in our mind, because it's clearly defined as that was the era that people dressed a certain way because of what was going on in the world at that time.
So this is clearly 50s. And so we can look at something and say, oh, I know exactly what era that was from.
Exactly.
And if we look at, maybe they'll show another picture, and I'm sure we can immediately think of what era it comes from. 70s.
Exactly. The hairstyles, everything led its way, but in the 50s you had the glamour of Hollywood always influencing. In the 60s and 70s it was the politics and the women's movement and everything moving us in a new direction. So it definitely is correlated, but we don't necessarily see the history part of it when we're in it.
Right.
So you know, learning what the inspiration was for the fashions and the colors being chosen for the year, all of the colors are very neutral and really reminding us of what's important with nature and what we're remembering we need to take care of. So you've got the ready earth tones of the oranges, and you've got some coolness of the blues, some of the gold colors that are also playing into, you know, remembering the sun and all of that. So it's influencing, taking parts from the 20s when women had shorter skirts and they were a little bit more freer sexually wise, and then tying in the 60s and 70s, and that's where we are in our country right now. It's taking all of those little bits and pieces and reminding us of that in the fashions that are available for us today, and comfort being, you know, one of those. So we can't dress the same way we did in the 20s because it wouldn't work for our lifestyle. So making sure little bits and pieces remind us of that, but also a new way of expressing that.
Yes, exactly. And so that's when we're thinking about the trends of today, here and now. Going into the fall season, we do think of more muted, rich tones, very natural is really what we look at.
Exactly. Yes, yes. And, you know, adding the whole bohemian look is part of that whole trend. Seeing a lot of, you know, the fringe, but not necessarily the fringe of the 60s, but the fringe of the flappers of the 20s.
Interesting.
So being able to see the influences in there and then appreciating it. And there's an emotion that's attached with that, right? When we see a picture from the 60s or 70s, we have a thought process about that time.
Yes, so now you have beautiful examples here of fall colors. We're also going to take a look at some of our favorite things we enjoy in the fall and how that influences our color decisions when it comes to dressing and amping up our wardrobe for the season. So Terry, we'll be back with you in just a bit, and we'll talk more about the word fall and how we can break that down and really incorporate those colors into our wardrobe.
To make it work for us.
To make
Correct.
it work for us. Looking forward to it. I'm actually excited to talk about it. We're back with Terry Standish, the fashion doctor from i4FashionCT.com. We're talking about incorporating the beautiful colors of fall into our wardrobe. And it's an easy thing to do when you just look at the landscape as the season changes.
That's right. And the colors remind us of what we're going to be doing in our life, what we're going to be doing for the season, how to prepare. It allows us the opportunity to do a lot of things, which is part of my my fall letters.
Yes, exactly. So if we look at the word fall and break it down, we start with the letter F, fun fall opportunities.
That's right. And what that is allowing us to do is re-examine our wardrobe. Take a look at it. We also get to look at things we haven't seen for a while, so it's exciting to open up boxes or wherever you have them stored, take them out and realize, wow, that's pretty cool. I forgot I even bought that or I had that. So it gives you a new opportunity to create new looks, and that's what I love about the change of seasons.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be some new look that you want to try. An assortment of shades to pick from, which is really fun because we know that when as the leaves change, that we want to mimic that and the colors that nature shows.
Right. It invokes an emotion in us, and so being able to do the same emotions with our clothing is fun because it's kind of a celebration in a way that our activities are kind of matching what's going on with our wardrobe. It just is something we've always done, and it feels fresh and wonderful to be able to do that. And there's some new colors that are coming out, or different versions of colors that we will see, and they're actually naming them some cool names. So all the different colors that we see here are reflected in a lot of the prints. You'll see that you have the golds, and you have different shades of the browns that we have, the reddish browns. We have an orchid color, and olive color is back again as well. But they all have special names, which I do have here.
So like as olive, we think of this as being a khaki green or an olive, but in the fashion world, they're calling it something different.
Right, and the reason for it, with the inspiration of being attached to nature and being reminded of that, they're changing the names. So, for example, the bluish color is called stormy weather. Dried herb is now. So it's taking that earth thought process and also naming our colors that as well. So it's reminding us of what that brought to us in nature.
Right, exactly. And so then that's part of living inspired, the L, looking at that and looking at inspiration all around us.
That's right. And the inspiration doesn't necessarily have to be what the designers created, but inspiration just for us that day. Are we feeling down? Maybe we want to bring in a color that reflects the sunshine that we haven't seen maybe in the fall for a while. So not just doing what other people are doing, but incorporating that in a way that feels good for us.
Yes, and also just looking at other things that we do in the fall, pumpkins, apple cider, all those things that we do, and feeling inspired by that.
You're right. If you're going out pumpkins, you know, grabbing those leggings that have those fun fall colors with some hiking boots can give us that same feel in the nature and feeling a part of it. So, you know, addressing what your outfit is for what's going on in your life at that time, and there's many ways of recreating that.
Right. So like you mentioned the boots right here, some nice fall boots. Those are the kind of things that we look forward to.
Cozy sweaters.
Right, cozy sweaters, exactly. And actually this beautiful shirt that I just knocked down here are the perfect kind of colors of fall too, the colors of the leaves that change. And the last thing I know you want to leave with is how fashion, oh, there we go, so pretty. Fashion is really always changing, and it's a part of history.
That's right. It follows history. And so it's important that we remember that there's more to it than just the colors that are being shown to us, and we can also get them, whether it be at a consignment shop, boutique, or from a designer. We can still find those colors and do it in our own way, within our own budget.
Exactly. No excuses. You can feel good about yourself no matter what and wear the fall colors. Thanks so much, Terry.
Thank you very much for having me.
Can't wait to start wearing those fall colors.